Ha! I got you guys good. You guys are silly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shyzalosophy 101. Yeah, we all like that part. Here's your host of Shyzabox. Oh, is the show starting? Oh, it must be. We heard our introduction. Giddy up, girl. Oh, we gotta get to work. We don't want to be late. Oh, girl. Whoa. Oh, girl. Oh, thank you. Hold your... I don't think that was applause. Get out of here. And the horse you rode in on. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome nuns and all. That's right, priests, preachers, bishops, cardinals, rabbis, weirdos with beardos, alcoholics anonymous, anyone who's hanging out looking for a place to have themselves a good time. That's right. Now, you might be saying to yourself, I doubt it. Right now, sure. Subjective to that of what a good time is, right? The same way it's a subjective thought as to what may perhaps, contain that of the purview or the overview of that foundationally is, perfect knowledge, right? Inherently, all right, you're going to have constraints on everyone's ability, right, to kind of come together, collectivize, and come up with that which would be the reason why we get to call Daryl Dixon dibs on being the best of the worst internet celebrities there is. Okay, now, hold on. We get it. Okay, you're like, no fair, why didn't I think of that, right? Well, too bad. We did it first. You might be familiar with a little show called Walking Dead, okay? Of course you are, because it's fantastic. How they get captured at the end of every season, only to escape at the beginning of the next. Very perplexing. Crazy times, those Walking Dead times. Alas, it is because of the foundational knowledge with which this show conveys to that of its viewership. No, not how to eradicate the living dead. No, a concept that is known to be a Daryl Dixon dibs, right? Okay, now, Daryl Dixon gets to call dibs, right? So, therefore, if Daryl Dixon does it, dibs is verified. It's pretty much a legal entailment at that point. Okay, now, obviously, this is for philosophical entertainment. You must deductively reason, that of which you will on your own merit and accord, okay? Sure. To each his own, right? But obviously, if dibs exists, okay, and we know that it does because of Walking Dead, okay, that's right, we're all familiar with it. Daryl of the Dixon. Daryl of the Dixon. No, don't worry about that. Everything's fine. Excellent. Huh? What? Nah, don't worry about it. So, point is that with Daryl Dixon being able to implement that of dibs in pretty much the legal system, if you will, I mean, to be honest, digital, the enter of the nets, all that, right? It exists, right? No, it's pretty much like almost a contractual obligation that must be adhered to in one way, shape, or form. So therefore, when we implement dibs and call Daryl Dixon dibs on being best of the worst internet celebrities that there is, okay, keep in mind, that's not really like something that anyone else wants to do, right? Everyone always shoots for the stars. Hey, they set their goals and aspirations way up here where people ironically have ceilings. Okay? Now, we might not have a full ceiling, but the barrel with which we live in of our mom's basement doesn't need one. Sure, we have those high hopes and dreams and aspirations of one day maybe selling enough of our literary works to move out of our mom's basement, maybe upgrade the studio, get a better working camera or better microphone or things of that nature. But because this show's free, you get what you pay for. Okay? It's a trade-off. We can't just go buy a better camera or microphone. We need someone to just give them to us, okay? We called Daryl Dixon dibs on being best of the worst. It can be a fucking used one. It doesn't matter. See? You made us curse. You know, it's times like this. Yes, hello, and hi. Who's that? Adeline? We can call you Adeline, right? No, of course we can. A-Money. We're just getting to the point how, like, you know, foundational, we got to start writing this stuff down. I don't know if you guys have, you know, favored, endorsed by internet celebrity, whether they're good or not. I don't know if you guys have an officially endorsed live stream note-taking journal. I mean, you don't even have to use it to take notes on something like this or anything like that, okay? But if you don't have an officially endorsed live stream note-taking journal, how do you keep up with all of these massive amounts of streamers nowadays? That's why we love our officially endorsed live stream note-taking journal. It can be found on Amazon.com, okay? Now, you might be saying to yourself, holy shit, why would I want an officially endorsed live stream note-taking journal for that Shyzabox show, right? Well, don't ask that question. You might get it into other people's heads implanted and things of that nature. Yes, hello, and hi. Who's that? RD? We can call you RD, right? Of course we can. So, our money. We're just trying to, you know, elaborate on the components and aspects, as there's so much to keep up with nowadays. So many streamers, so many, you know, good ones, right? We called Daryl Dixon dibs on being best of the worst, okay? So, the show's always going to kind of suck. Sure, warranted. But, you know, it's free, okay? And not only that, yes, hello and hi, not only that, but everything else that you watch is guaranteed to be better. That's right. Just remember, while things might be a little crazy around here, it's all for philosophical entertainment. Hey, that of the literary works that we peddle are the conscious dissemination thereof, the more complexities of what you would say, a perfect knowledge. Now, obviously, one would have to say, there's no way in hell this dude's knowledge is perfect, right? Of course, it's because no one wants to yield that of anything over that of another that yields that of another's understanding over that of their own. Okay? Now, you might be saying to yourself, I guess that makes sense, right? Well, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? It's hard for, you know, individuals or folks to buy in, so you need to, you know, definitively state, okay, what a foundational understanding is that everyone can base their foundations upon, okay? That's why we utilize that of lithic logic, okay? Well, that's right, okay? Showcase that of what exists, okay? Lithic, stone, rock, all right? It's that is solid, that which can't be moved by, you know, any ease of means, okay? Now, can it be moved? Most certainly, most assuredly. Absolutely, because it has been. Okay? You can prove this. You can go through history, you can look at any of the stuff, even like, you know, we go and, you know, and we relate and stuff to our book, The New Non-Native Species on Mankind's Origin and things of that nature, okay? Read a passage from it! What? Huh? No. Well, okay, I mean, if you guys want us to read a passage from our book, that way you don't gotta buy it. Okay. How about this? You'll love this. We actually have a part on 6-7. Holy shit. What kind of internet celebrities have their books include 6-7? Hey, now you might be saying, you must have at least 6-7 books. Believe you me, we have more than that. You can go buy any of them. But, hey, get this. You're not supposed to buy Delectable, but it's 94% off. That's the craziest damn thing. We kind of broke our theory and proved our theory and broke kind of Amazon's algorithms at the same time. It's hilarious, okay? Believe you me, Delectable is 94% off right now. Don't buy it, okay? It's the funniest shit. Yeah. Well, let's get through this, and then we'll get to the delectable thing, because that's in essence what the this stream shall be about, unless someone hijacks the show in the chat and wants us to talk about something better. Believe you me, anything you guys have is going to be far better than that of what we provide. Except for this part, which is actually based on 6.7. Now it's reversing backwards. You can't see it. Go read it on Kindle Unlimited for the free trial or something like that. We get 0.04 cents per each page read. That equates to ones of cents at the end of our month. Believe you me, we can almost afford to go eat something. Boy, if we lost weight since starting this. We used to be even bigger. What? You can't make fat jokes nowadays? Huh? We didn't make a fat joke, we made a bigger joke. There's a difference, okay? You didn't say we're fat. You said we were a bigger... That's just sad. Huh? What? Everything's fine. Excellent. All right, let's read this quote. 6.7. What was that? Huh? Don't worry about it, man. This is a new non-native species on mankind's origin. Now, obviously, you might be saying, what the hell does 6.7 have to do with that? Well, believe you me, who gives a shit? It makes the book better. A 6.7, right? On that of cultural influences, which permeate and manifest themselves onto that of the general universal metrics and manifested universal agreement and consistency for the creation or maintenance truth, that of agreed upon universals, which universally find themselves in metrics of vernacular linguistics and understanding, especially when tied to or corresponding to that of comedy. When inferred or introduced non-natively into that of which is, or what is accepted as is, manifest themselves ever efficiently into the shaping of furtherance of linguistical study, pivoting that of its meanings of truth. That's right. At times creating divergent truths, which both maintain elements and aspects of truth, so long as those truths remain true to their being. Okay? Well, fantastic. You might be saying, oh, that quote sucked. What? No, it didn't. It was awesome. That's right. Now you don't gotta buy the book. You're welcome. It's available for sale. You don't gotta buy it. We can read you parts for free. Please don't. Huh? You're ruthless, Internet. You would celebrate that. All right, let's get into the potatoes and the meat. What? All right. Present it. What? All right. Popcorn, smiley, laughy face, heart, looks like Spider-Man. Excellent. Thank you for the chats. We appreciate those. Keeps us on our toes. Thank you for participating. Fantastic. All right, let's get into some philosophy. No, let's not. What? Hey, Mom, keep those comments to yourself or we're going to ban you from the chat again. No. Okay. Anyhow. All right. The potatoes and the meat. The meat and the potatoes, no matter how you stew them, cook them, boil them, eat them for whenever you do, okay? That of what is perfect knowledge, okay? That of what could be construed or conveyed of one's understanding of perfect knowledge, all right? Can attribute itself and its being and its, form and function, all right, to that of one's metric and guise of understanding, all right, afforded to one's understanding of what perfect knowledge could be. Okay? So, once we look at that of our lithic, the stone, the rock, the bedrock, the not easily movable, though movable obviously and correctly at times, okay, that of lithic logic is the bedrock foundation with which everything must inherently, hell, we kind of, that whole simulation theory, we kind of argue against it, right? You might be saying to yourself, like, oh man, you're going to get some people really mad. Well, so be it, so it be so, okay? With things like simulation theory and whatnot, inherently, because we have a never-yielding, universal, open grid with which to, especially as provable in that of, our entailments and abilities in Web3 environment to create on an open source network anything that we want. Okay? What would you like? We've created the most obscure, random, craziest shit because people in the chat have just goofed off and wanted something, okay? We literally, on our IPFS site, have Granny's Mayo Mental Music Simulator. You fist a jar, a tub, a glass tube of mayonnaise. It makes sounds. Knock yourself out. Someone wanted to mess with us in the chat. We made it for them, okay? Now, on the IPFS site, okay, natively we house and host that of more formal theories and functional, demos and games and metrics of, dissemination under the guise of all that stuff, okay? All free. Go check it out, okay? Now, obviously, on mobile, you hit those little 500, 502, 504 errors. You don't want to wait your turn, right? Obviously. So, through the free iterations of Pinata, okay, because again, we don't buy a roof, we don't upgrade the camera, we don't upgrade the microphone, because we don't invest in that of what we need not. Okay? We have our copy of Delectable, don't buy it, it's 94% fucking off. Okay? It's the craziest shit. We literally broke Amazon's pricing algorithms, okay? Thusly intertangling and intertwining that of our theorems even more into the metric of lithic logic of understanding, okay? Now, word salad, hogwash, this, that, the other. We broke Amazon's pricing metrics, okay? You might be saying, well, I guess that sounds pretty funny. Nothing else is going on today. We can talk about that. Well, good, because it's funny as shit. This book, do not buy it. It is $250, okay? It has to be. We literally moved using our advantageous usages of lectin, okay, ancient pre-Stoic philosophical term from old dead pre-Stoic philosophers, okay? They're dead. You can't ask them about it. You have to go read old, dirty, dusty books, manuscripts, and pieces of parchment that have been obscured, lost, erased, eradicated, missing, and intransparent throughout the test of time. Go read all that shit and get on the same page. Or you take our word for some of it. Hey, no, it's the internet. Hey, again, this is all for philosophical entertainment. Before we get too far ahead, we might want to go ahead and apologize for something pertaining to last stream. And that's right. Everyone makes mistakes. Even, perfect knowledge of understanding Shyzabox. We make mistakes too. We aren't perfect. We might have a grip on what may ascertainably be that of perfect knowledge. Subjective, that of one's thinkings thereof. Sure. Perhaps we view it a smidge differently. Perhaps we utilize lithic logic and our computational knowledge. We don't hide behind our math and science. Our math and science are open source Kaggle notebooks. Run that shit for yourself. That's right. Fantastic. We don't hide behind any of it. Audit it. Send it to people who understand that of math and or science more than that of yourself. Have them audit it. We don't care. We don't hide behind it. Okay? That of one's understanding and computational prowess to ascertain that of which pertains to any of it, that's up to them, subjectively. Okay? We can't handhold anymore. It holds up the show far, far, far too much. Okay? We'll happily answer, entertain any question, email, chat. Hello and hi. Who's that? No Apolongos Coast. Well, no Apolongos Coast, welcome to the show. That's right. We were saying something really important, but you interrupted us. So, inherently the show might be a little worse now, but it's better because you're here. Don't get us wrong. Hey, you make the show better. Already. Just you being here. Well, we were on some, really good tirade, and, it was really, really good. Now we'll lose our train of thought, and, we'll circle back to it eventually. Who cares? Point is that, welcome to the show. Who's that? Someone saying nothing? Well, welcome. Excellent. All right, no matter to what degree, all right, you look at perfect knowledge, all right, one's interpretation thereof is going to be subjective to their limitations therewith, okay? Books like Delectable, all right, when we price them at $250, okay, and the algorithm manipulates and breaks the price, all right, I mean, we broke Amazon's pricing metric, okay? You can go look right now on Amazon, the .of-coms, okay? And Delectable is 94% off right now. Okay? It's a $250 book. Yes, hello and hi. Baladunkabalank. Sorry, we don't read Russian all too well. I mean, we're familiar with, like, characters and stuff. If that is Russian, you know, apologies if not. But your username, that of which, or whatever, does resemble the characters of such that we would affiliate with that of. Yeah, upon first glance. I mean, we don't have our notes. Well, hell, ironically, we do have some of them right in front of us. Does this book have Russian in it? Sanskrit, Old English, Avestan. Nope, probably not this one. Yeah, I mean, maybe lines have changed. Lines of sand. Akkadian, Egyptian, hieroglyphs, Arabic, cuneiform, Avestan, Latin, Hebrew, Hungarian, French, Russian. Yeah, we'll go with it, yeah. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, we're not going to just take the whole stream looking at all that, but we're going to say that we're probably right. Yeah, good. Welcome to the show. Good. Hope that you know who you are. That's what matters most. Point being is that, yeah, it's great of everyone to stop by and, you know, say hi and stuff like that. As, you know, this is inevitably a show of just hanging out, all right? Staying at the will and leisure of that of which you wish to, okay? Entertaining the thoughts of anything that comes to your mind for the dissemination of anything on that of ours. You know, we get to do that all the time. We already understand that of our own metrics and accord and findings. With which would you like to poke and prod at that of our understandings as well? Okay. We've contemplated calling the show Ask Shyza or something like that, you know, just because, why not? It's like Ask Jeeves, only maybe crappier. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Point is that, regardless of how it goes in any way, shape, or form, the fact that we can get together and hang out, you know, should anyone choose or want to or desire to, that's what inevitably the show is about, inherently, okay? The only perfect knowledge is going to be the knowledge that you perfectly perfected, that of which time you utilized in perfecting that knowledge of which you have ascertained, acquired, used that of therewith, and or played thereupon. Now, how do you play thereupon knowledge? Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you disseminate the usages thereof, okay? When we monograph lectin out of, you know, our you know, book Delectable, and literally, you know, if you were to look at, you know, Wheeler's It by Bit, right? And we like going into, you know, that of the physicist's realm and the, you know, cosmological philosophers, you know, kind of apparatus and things of that nature, all right? And when you go and you actually look at Wheeler's It by Bit, okay, you know, our correlation and our bridging thereof with, you know, Deutsch and all that, okay, you can really, with constructor theory, visualize and see that of our abridging and, you know, improvings of going kind of beyond Landauer, all right, beyond, you know, the metrics of what one would deem a mere stumbling block that has been manifest as a yoke upon that of mankind's shoulders, okay, due to our own logical constraints and reasonings. That's right. So when we utilize lithic logic and ascertain for ourselves that that of which has been, you know, kind of put therefore before us is ridiculous beyond all accounts and measures, obviously, you know, we'll say something about it, and we'll do the bold move cotton on the internet, okay? It's more fun to have a yes or no. Is this dude super duper crazy, or is he just ridiculous? Those both sound the same. It's the internet. Who cares? They probably both are, but inherently they're very different. Look at the past live streams. Well, what if you claim that's so crazy? Well, how about the Voynich manuscript, okay? Not a lot of people will boldly state that theoretically we have solved and or claim to have solved a great deal of portions thereof, all right? Merely by orchestrating conceptually that the Voynich manuscript is not linguistical in nature, it is mathematical and a blueprint in practice. Okay? Now, bold claim, Cotton, very, very bold to state such a thing on the internet, on a live of the stream, on anything, to write books, to wear your heart on your sleeve, to be that of a philosopher, whether you are deemed a good one or not. Irrelevant. Okay? The whole metric of our understanding up to this point was that of Diogenes versus Plato, okay? Diogenes, okay, will walk around in the daylight on the internet right now, okay, with a bottle of sanitizer, looking for someone, all right, that is an honest and clean man with their hands entirely, and need not utilize any cleansing thereof, okay? Show us the honest man, same way along the parameters and guise that of Diogenes walking around the streets with a lantern looking for an honest man in the daylight, okay? Hilarious. Crazy Diogenes lived in a barrel. Crazy Shyzabox lives in his mom's basement without a ceiling, okay? Let that of mankind remember that of Shyzabox, for how they do, we care not, okay? Because it's irrelevant and matters not. Time is a construct, okay? Now, bold claim, Cotton. Money's a construct, time's a construct, okay? Mankind necessitates the construction of everything to exist or be placed upon that of a lithical understanding and boundary, which is necessitated by a foundational metric of understanding for us, afforded in the ability to incorporate that of theological components and aspects, which all philosophers need to inherently convey to that of the masses, should they wish to inherently deem themselves to be that of a philosopher, okay? That's why in our theological works, which you find on Amazon.com or Kindle of the Unlimited, that's right, like Transmutating God, New Non-Native, well, no, not that one necessarily as theological, but what? Why hast thou forsaken us? Bless me, Father, for I have sinned, okay? All of these theological works with which we conceptualize that of the usages therewith, all right, one's interpretations thereof. As a philosopher, okay, you need to be able to be audited. Okay? You need to be able for someone to go into that of your conscious thoughts and mind and ascertain that of how crazy you actually are. Okay? Because believe you me, to even be in the conversation nowadays of being a good philosopher, okay, now we're not saying we're a good philosopher, okay? But to even have your name in that conversation to be a good philosopher, okay? And again, we're not saying that we are of such, okay? But to have your name in the hat, one must, as a philosopher, have their own poetry book, okay? And that's why we do. How poetry, cometry, okay? How cometry, poetry. To have our name in the hat of being a good, maybe not a good, but a good philosopher, okay? To even have our name in the hat, okay? Our name gets to be on the test, okay? We have that of our poetry book, okay? That's right. Point is that whether you're chasing that of the theological components, that of the emotional components tied in with philosophy, and that of one's hearts and emotions, okay, through that of our poetic works, okay, you don't need to dive into any component. However, we need to yield and have every component of our psyche up for auditability, okay? As a philosopher, okay, you must adhere to the standards set out of being open source, okay? You must be an open book to disseminate that of which is disseminatable, okay? with which you even disseminate anything at all right, thence is a chosen component rather than an inevitability, okay? Everyone conveys that of what they wish to, whether they wish to or not, a conveyance is made and entertained thereupon, okay? Crazy thought, right? Again, this is all for philosophical entertainment. Listen to that of at your own risk and understanding and metrics thereof. When one entertains the thoughts that can be adjacent to any of such, all right, when one then correlates a perfect knowledge, a perfect understanding, inherently, you can have that of which ascribe and pertain to that of your own ecosystem, that of your own metrics of understanding, that of your own vernacular usage abilities, and that of thereof, okay? Anybody can be a philosopher, and dare we say everyone is that of a philosopher, okay? Now, the difference is that of a public philosophy, that of us stating our Shyzalosophy and, being able to ascertain that of which in linguistical capabilities and vernacular dialoguings and, the written word thereof, which I guess correlates to both their usages in between, one way, shape, or form, doesn't matter. All right, to even have your own philosophy written down on paper, okay, being able to be purchased and things of that nature, all right, you're able to a degree, disseminate information a little differently, okay? We can point out the fact that we broke Amazon's algorithm, okay, with their pricing metrics and stuff like that, by pointing to the fact that Delectable is a $250 book, okay, that we tell people not to buy. Amazon thinks differently, right? Well, Amazon wants you to have 94% off. So thusly, Delectable is. Okay? We literally, this is Wheeler's It by Bit, okay? Bit is free. It costs $250. Don't buy it. Okay? Consider it a thermodynamic enlightenment behind a little bit of a paywall. Okay? Now, big businesses, big companies, they might want to spend the $250 on the book. Okay, believe you me, Shyzabox isn't under an NDA and does not work for that of a big company right now, right? Okay? We don't have to answer to HR or anything like that, and we don't have to be beholden to the rules of which are placed by one lorded over us. Okay? The only power we need to ascribe to is that of our lithical foundation and knowledge of understanding with which we base upon all of our, works, whether theoretical, practiced, or not, inherently, true to be in form and fashion and or debatable, contemplative, subjectively thereto, one's interpretation thereof, one's understanding there to be, on their own accord and merit. They have standing and measure. Okay? It doesn't matter how we view them and measure them. It's going to be, any of the dissipation thereof that is the resonantial features thereupon. Okay? This guy talks funny. What? Perhaps we do. Perhaps in code. Perhaps at times. No one knows. Everything's fine. Oh, what? Point is that with one's interpretation of perfect knowledge, okay, with Delectable, all right, representing thence, theoretically, Wheeler's It by Bit, okay, with Bit being free, because you can go to Kindle Unlimited and you can read Delectable for free, okay? We broke Amazon's pricing algorithm because of our correlation to Deutsch's constructor theory. Okay? Some funny stuff. We don't hide behind our math. The Kaggles are open source. Audit us. Okay? Philosophers, like I said, whether good or not, we're not saying we're good. need to have everything open source to be audited upon. Okay? We don't hide behind the math. We challenge you. Okay? Dare you say upon our math is incorrect, go to Kaggle and tell us such upon your lookings at therewith. Okay? Because believe you me, computationally, Shyzabox don't like having remainders and leftovers, right? So good old Shyzabox pretty much balances the yin and the yang to perfection, okay? With which between us, thensely, is that of perfect knowledge and understanding, okay? Now, arguably, one can subjectively say that, no, I want to say that complete understanding and complete perfect knowledge permeates and resonates with that of an understanding of every single entity available and that of, the it that it is, right? No. Like we said, Wheeler's it by bit, okay? Bit is free, okay? It costs $250. Don't buy it. Okay? If you buy Delectable now at 94% off, well, A, it's going to be the funniest shit when logically it's looked at some point in time, okay? You would be committing a logical fallacy that is manifested, all right, by computational misgivings. It's the funniest shit. We cannot prove our theory anymore. We've already proved our theory. Stop making it more provable. At this point, it's just hilarious, okay? We can come on here and shoot off at the mouth because, everything's already done. Everything that has been formulated and adhered to by the structure itself has necessitated its, being. Okay? Look at the IPFS site. Okay? It's a dissemination thereof necessitates computational capabilities and understanding. Okay? That of a more formed perfect knowledge, okay, and we're not saying completely perfect knowledge because therein upon that only exists in one way, shape, or form, measured upon that, of course, of, the true lithic light of all knowing and understanding, that of, the theological in nature, that of God, the eternal light, Ein Sof, for that of whichever you would like to correlate thereto therewith. Insert deity here, we argue not that of one's religious affiliations or foundations. That of as well, their metrics of understanding and or adherences there too. Practice that of your own. We familiarize ourselves with that of all that we do because we wish it to be incumbent upon ourselves to have a knowledge and understanding thereupon our theological understandings of whatever knowledges we wish to, entertain the complexities thereof and or at least talk thereabout or try and elicit some form of understanding in there too, okay? We wish not that of any knowledge to be foreign to us in nature, especially that of which is deemed to pertain to that of the eternal true light, that of God, that of Ein Sof, that of any powers or entities that be. We wish to have access to that of which, okay? That's why when we write our theological works and we keep people posted on that of which we do, we don't necessitate the imperativeness to state that we have read the Bible. Okay? But it must be stated because there inherently is a foundation there that exists that others may not have. Okay? Additionally, when we say we have read the Torah, okay, it is not a claimant upon to have read such a secretive work that no one else can know of it or read it, okay? But it's merely an addition to that of our theological basis and foundation. So, like we said, it's not bragging. We've read the Bible. Yes, many people have. Anyone can that chooses to. We've read the Torah. Anybody has that can. Anyone can that will or wants to, okay? Additionally, we don't stop our theological understandings there because we wish to understand and incorporate that of what is understanding because good old Shyzabox loves to play with everybody of age. we have read the Quran, okay, because we deemed it necessary to have an understanding of that of which is affiliated with the theological components and aspects of that of another entity and or enterprising affiliated religious entailment with which we are not privy to inherent native practices thereof. Okay? So we read the Quran as well. Okay? Again, not for the braggifications of having done such, but for our familiarization with the components and aspects, because as a philosopher, we need to be able to disseminate and discuss that of which theologically can be expanded upon and or based upon that of a foundational lithical understanding of knowledge. Okay? Additionally, does this dude ever shut up? Oh, that's a free show. Who cares? Additionally, when we make note, when we make mention, when we make a forecasting thereof, all right, the components and aspects that we have read the Book of Mormon. Again, it is not a brag. It is not a boast. All right. It is merely a tactic to disseminate the components and actualize the knowledge basis and foundation with which we talk theological components of philosophy in any way, shape, or form. We've read the Bible. We've read the Torah. We've read the Quran. And we've read the Book of Mormon. Okay. Anybody can. Okay? It's whether they choose to and whether they want to devote that sort of time to such a practice. Okay? Now, many inherently who ascribe to and or claim it upon themselves to be a portion or aspect or component thereof, many different types or components of religious affiliations, organizations, and or the sort, all right, claimeth there to be to such a degree that they lord those powers over any of else or such. Yes, hello and hi! Who's that? Neopolongalos. Welcome. Hey, we wished to familiarize ourselves with every single component and aspect of that of theological nature so that we could discuss, disseminate, and or write that of which we choose to, okay? So when we write our works like Transmutating God and things of that nature, okay? Now, disclaimer, obviously with a literary body of works over a lengthy period of a short period of a lengthy period of time. What's that mean? Who cares? Doesn't matter. Kind of sounded cool. Obviously, we hadn't finished reading the Book of Mormon when we wrote Transmutating God, okay? That's the last one we read, okay? But, like we said, okay, the familiarizing yourself with the theological components and natures, okay, of one's potential understanding and or abridged versionings of a theological basis and foundation of reality. All right, we can intertwine and incorporate that with a metaphysical state of understanding that applies across the board, all right, to all metrics of religious affairs and affiliations, okay? If that thus is the brotherhood under Christ, under God, under the entities and or powers that be, because you ascribe not to that of Jesus Christ or that of God or that of any other formation or entity. Maybe you're a heathen or something like that, okay? To each his own. Maybe you inherently claim that of the old ancient Hermetic, that of the old ancient, vernacular that could be incumbent upon one to merely recognize that of Ein Sof and the power that be, okay, the cosmic egg, okay, the serpent egg, whatever you wish to deem that of which you wish. It matters not. It's our familiarity that we try and ascribe to our versionings thereof, every single component and aspect from the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, the Book of Mormon, with which now we, like we said, encompassly have all read, all right, that we can deductively reason that a lithical, logical, and foundational need is necessitated for all of humanity to symbiotically work with that of artificial intelligence, which isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It must symbiotically have a lithical foundation of understanding with which to call a hard stop on all of the rest of this formulated knowledge with which does not exist. There is too much information and data out there. Hard stop. If one cannot computationally back up any claim with a mathematical variability to it or a point of contention or state that can be argued therewith, scrap that shit now. There's too much bullshit out there, okay? Perfect knowledge means knowing that no knowledge can be perfect, okay? Funny how that works in our little enclosed system, right? What a metric of understanding. All of the runoff, all of the debris, all of the exhaust, okay, all of the decay that is collectively accounted for, okay, under current understandings, again, this is all for philosophical entertainment, under current understandings, not that of lithic logic or that of our own, okay, it is construed, conveyed as what inherently is reality, okay? Under the metric and guise, all right, of a ever-expanding perfect knowledge set, knowing that the limitations of one's understandings, okay, limit that of one's understandings practiced, okay? An entity can't know of its yielded metric gain in its own accounts, under its own accord, okay? The entity cannot be self-aware enough, all right, no matter how much you want it to be, to noticeably ascertain that of its yielded gain, okay? It cannot, all right? That is the bottom line. However, we argue now, again, we've argued beyond metric, beyond measure. We don't hide behind our math. Audit the shit out of it, okay? When we state that we have presented forth, all right, our theorems and proven them to such a degree that you can't prove them anymore, the mere components and aspects that further go and add to that entire sentiment cannot be understated, okay? For Amazon.com to have their pricing algorithm literally break, okay, trying to price out delectable, is the most hilarious thing ever, okay? It's literally the Deutsch correlation and work, okay? It's Wheeler's it by bit to such a degree that it creates a logical fallacy for anyone to buy this book, and that pains us as the author to say, right? This book is 94% off. Talk about savings. 94% off. Delectable. Talk about savings. Like we said, we already proved the theory. We can't prove it anymore. Okay, Wheeler's it by bit. Bit is free. Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. It costs $250. Of course, but perfect knowledge, 94% off. Because that of lithic knowledge is, as the vernacular master, that of which reigns supreme. Okay? Don't buy it. Everything's fine. Huh? What? We love playing with that of the physicists. We love playing with that of the entities, the mathematicians, those of the theorizers that contemplatively think of that in the realm of, I want to prove this guy wrong. That's why we don't hide behind any of our math. That's why we have it all open source. Believe you me, good old Shyzabox is at the point of just kind of twirling around his theories, waiting on anyone to interact with them, okay? Doesn't matter. We're not under an NDA. We don't work for a big company, and eventually an entity is going to roll up Elon Musk style with a briefcase full of cash and be like, hey, start making us some shit, okay? Theoretically. Maybe not. Okay? Maybe we venture about continuing that of which we do on our own accord, metric and merit. Either one is the viable outcome for we want for not. And the limitations and entities with which correspond to that of society's understanding, that of society's metrics of known gains or, wisdom or perfect knowledge or any of it that be, society is unaware, okay? Society cannot be aware, same way we cannot be aware, okay? Now, that is, like we said, thermodynamic enlightenment with a price tag, okay? Not a lot of people utilize thermodynamic enlightenment, okay? Good old Shyzabox is the vernacular master, and with which he shows entities that should choose to ascribe to the usages therewith why lectin and why our monographing thereof is inherently, as lithic logic states, superior to that of any other former means of understanding and usages thereupon are not that of such. Okay? Bold claim, Cotton. Wheelers, bit by bit. Like we said, bit is free. It costs $250. Don't buy it. Perfect knowledge, however, God, how can you pass up that price tag at 94% off? This, again, us breaking Amazon.com's pricing algorithms, okay, once again just proves that of our theory even further, okay? You literally, okay, wheelers it by bit. It's been the foundation of understanding and knowledge for some time. Well, like you said, thermodynamic enlightenment at a cost, okay? Delectable. You can't make this shit up, man. Yeah, we literally broke Amazon.com's pricing algorithm, okay? When we moved our metric kernel of data from Kaggle to Web3, it necessitated the change, all right, and that of our entire dynamics pertaining to delectable, which for us, we hate that, okay? Because out of all of our literary works, okay, delectable is the one that we, wish to showcase that foremost of the most, okay? It's our favoritist, shortcomings and all. There's some typos in there, okay? We can't be perfect when God is. We wish not to fill that role. Not our place, believe you me. Let God do God's job, and let Shyzabox kick it wherever. Wherever God alloweth. How about that? When we monograph lectin, all right, this is the one that we wish to showcase, okay, out of all of our books, out of all of our literary works and wares, okay, even over that of pickled punk philosophy, which is just inherently awesome and fun. We love pickled punk philosophy because we're a punk rocker, Not many philosophers wear their heart on their sleeve to the component and aspect of, and again, we should be making note of this in our officially endorsed livestream note-taking journal. Okay? Not everyone can just, up and do that of what, they wish to willy-nilly. But as a punk rocker, you're ingrained with angst, with a rebellious nature, all right, with a manifested natural youth, if you will, that rears its head every time you get pissed off in your life. Okay? Now, believe you me, it's not good to be angry and mad. Seek forgiveness, and you shall find forgiveness. Seek violence, and you shall most likely find violence. Okay? We wish to seek not that of what we abscorn from. Okay? We think we used that word right. We probably did. We reserve the right to apologize for it later. Pickled punk philosophy inherently has, okay, that angstiness, that reason for why it was necessitated for us to write delectable in the first place, okay? The usages of lectin, all right, and the abilities for one to utilize the techniques therewith that ancient, old, dead philosophers used for ages of past, okay? inherently showcase their abilities to yield up that of the results to such a degree and capability and capacity, that of which only one who truly encompasses and could ascribe to a basic admission of an understanding of perfect knowledge, being that of an imperfect understanding thereof, could understand the perfect knowledge therein. Okay? Some word salad mumbo jumbo, right? Again, we hold no more hands in that of Eastern philosophical thought and practice. We cannot, the show gets bogged down and waylaid because of it. Okay, that of what has been abridged and afforded a bridging thereof through the confines of history already, we wish not to go back and redundantly set upon. Same way we don't go chase the cosmological philosophy doctorate degree out in California. Okay? It would necessitate us dropping probably upwards of almost $250,000 to go chase a piece of paper to do that of which we can already do on our own accord. Okay? It's all for philosophical entertainment. We need not any piece of paper given by that of another human being to afford us the opportunity to be. Okay? Again, we conceptualize that of, all right, the processes that be, okay, to roundaboutly go now and close the circle before we depart and end our metric of conscious dissemination thereof, thought and logic and reasoning of the lithic logic thereof. To incorporate the components of everything, all right, in a realistic manner, into a certainty, into a degree, all right, in every metric of understanding, way, shape, and form, all right, one must utilize the practices afforded, all right, to their understanding. Okay? One must be able to deductively attribute what need be attributed, all right, to wherever you can lump it. Okay, you're going to use the lumpability, all right, and probably means and measures and metrics with which are not formally adhered to or known. Okay, what is then is perfect knowledge. Is perfect knowledge knowing exactly what every it is. Okay, when bit is free and it costs $250, don't buy it. Again, we hate that because it's our fucking book. That's right. Every self-published author, every desired entity wants to be on the new of the York Times best of the sellers. Okay? Inherently, it would be holy shit. All right? If you want to look at how society, if Delectable reaches the New York Times bestseller list, okay, it will be the biggest, stupidest human blunder now at this point, okay, ironically, and it sucks for us. It would be the biggest blunder in logical fallacy that mankind could possibly ever make, okay? Now, it's inherently funny as shit, okay? But literally, it would be such a logical fallacy if mankind thrust upon itself that of logical absurdity, all right? But it would be poetic justice to that of humankind to not even understand thereupon that they did. Okay? Believe you me, it couldn't be measured. All right? We've proved our theory to such a degree that we must now argue against that of our book for the benefit of logic. Holy shit, you can't make this shit up. This is 94% off. Not by our own accords. Not by our own metrics and doings. we broke Amazon.com's pricing algorithm. Therefore, now we have to argue against our own creation, okay, our own being. It's the funniest shit. You can't make it up. Believe you me, if we did, we'd probably put it in a book. I wonder if that would price out and break the algorithms as well. You never know. It's the funniest shit, man. Yeah, if it'd be the biggest logical fallacy now, thusly it must be argued against the ascertainment thereof, the physical copy therewith. Because, like we said, Wheeler's hit by bit. Again, broken record. Okay, bit is free. It costs $250. Currently on sale, 94% off. Don't buy it. It is perfect knowledge. Therefore, in is the entire circle. Now, imperfectly closed. Because as transmutating God and as anyone, no. You never have a perfect circle, okay? That of God be the only, ascribing there too. You only have one. Okay? So, as we contemplate that of the complexities of perfect knowledge, our limited understandings therewith and thereof, with which gives us the afforded opportunity to have a perfect knowledge therewith and thereof, an imperfect ability to have a perfect knowledge, therefore placating our inability to have a imperfect perfect knowledge by giving us a perfect knowledge. Now, perfect knowledge may only pertain to that of our enclosed system, but whence thusly one claims that they have that of perfect knowledge, which math do we not hide behind? That of our own. Audit the shit out of us. Do it. Okay? For our perfect knowledge exists. And whether you ascribe to that of which or not, whether you believe that of which or not, whether you harbor ill feelings towards that of which or not, is of the utmost irrelevance. For that is of the eyes and placated understandings of an imperfect perfect knowledge afforded to the luxuries of mankind. And AI, symbiotically at times therewith the both usages thereof. For AI is a fickle beast. That's why as the vernacular master, we ourselves, necessitatingly calling Daryl Dixon dibs on being the best of the worst internet celebrity there is, afforded us the opportunity to vernacularly disseminate that of such which need be disseminated. But of course, we invent not which has been created, as has already been created, nor cannot be destroyed as has not been destroyed. Therefore, we bow down and ascribe to the powers that be, okay? That of the lithic logic, that of the light of everlasting knowledge and truth, that of for us in our Catholic profession, okay? The Trinity, okay? God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, Holy Ghost, as you will. Okay? Now, other religious sects, affinities, organizations, they might not, the same way. But there's something about, us being raised Catholic, okay? Being a professor of that of the faith. Okay? It's our venturing out and studying open-mindedly, all right, that of the thoughts and components and aspects thereof, other religious affiliations, sects, and organizations, all right, that afford us our lithical understandings of that of which hopefully correlate to that of all as a whole. Okay? So as we have read the Bible, we've read the Ethiopian Bible, we've read the Torah, we've read the Quran, we've read the Book of Mormon, okay, we've read the theological works that we find, the Nag Hammadi findings, all the Dead Sea Scrolls, yes, anyone can read them, we have. Okay? When one ascribes to that of their interpretations of faith and their understandings thereof, all right, the limitations of mankind's knowledge of perfect knowledge, okay, which is inherently afforded to that of only the entity of God and or being, principality here, deity that may be, over that of thought, culture, manifestation, parameter that are here ascribed thereto. Okay? Matters not, but the fact that it be and that it exist means that that perfect knowledge is inherently existent in its own affiliated affordings, all right? And it's merely up to us, all right, to have an understanding of the perfect knowledge and that of our own perfect knowledge, okay, which is an imperfect knowledge in a perfect form of a perfect knowledge. Keep in mind, okay? Then we can look at, observably, that of what necessitates a perfecting thereof. That's right. So, remember, you be sure, as we finish off our swill, yep, that's gone. As we finish off our swill, you might be saying, no, don't go. Get some more subscriberifications. What? Utilize marketing tactics and techniques to try and increase subscribers before we get out of here? I guess. We did invest in the budget after all. All right. Wacky waving inflatable flailing arm guy to elicit some subscribifications and updo to votes. Now you might be saying to yourself, no thank you, right? But, believe you me, channel invested. Needs to pay off, so you're going to have to probably subscribe at some point, or, you know, it's just going to be coming up in your feed. Better to subscribe and ignore. Can't stop it now. Can't stop, won't stop. Okay? You already got the inflatable flailing arm, wacky waving inflatable flailing arm guy. Subscribification's going to increase in yield no matter what. So you might as well jump on the trolley before the trolley passes by, and you got to catch the caboose. Believe you me. Riding on Shyzabox caboose isn't all too bad. But it's when you're front and center that you always get the best show. That's right. So be sure that you take care of yourself, because there's only one you, right? That's right. We can't replace you, at least easily. We can't just go create a fake account and replace yourself. Okay? There's only one you. You take care of yourself. Okay? No matter what. Okay? When the plane's going down and crashing, you got to put on your own mask before you help that of others. Okay? But then you look around, and anyone else who really, really needs it, you take care of them second. Okay? That's right. Some people might really, really need it, and they don't know how to ask and or, you know, even beg at times for help. Okay? Let that charity reign supreme. Okay? Show us why we aren't as good at charity as we should be. Okay? Believe you me, in incorporating that of, you know, different theological works and readings and stuff like that, let us quote one of charity pertaining to the Book of Mormon. Okay? Of all ones that, you know, we would just reference. I don't know, it just popped into the head anyway, so why not? Charity is of very utmost importance, and we ourselves need to get better at it. Okay? Now, it's kind of a hard one to go into as we're about to solicit for random funnies and donations. So disregard the rest of this or whatever, and yeah, just get out of here now. But we're going to finish our rigmarole as perfect knowledge dictate that we do. For our affordings of our perfect knowledge indicated of such, and believe you me, everything's fine. That's right. So you look around the room and you see if there's anyone else that you like and or love more than us. Unlikely, but maybe. Might be 6, 7, you know, different people. All right, you take care of them next, okay? But if you got anything left over at the end of the day, we'll take it. Beggars can't be choosers, believe you me. We'd love to have a working roof, and, you know, just because it would be a logical fallacy for Delectable to be on the New York Times bestseller doesn't mean that pickled punk philosophy or transmutating God, could it be? New non-native species on mankind's origin, or nailing Kalimba. All these are fantastic additions, okay? Doesn't have to be delectable. Remember, you learn it by bit. Broken record. How can you break what is fixed? It by bit. Bit is free. This show shall always be. It costs $250. Go to Amazon.com. Buy one of our books. Don't buy it. Don't buy this one. Hold on, management's calling. They think they know how to run the place. What do you want? We're signing off. We're getting out of here. Yeah, we apologize for last stream. Sorry about last stream. Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, yeah, we're going to stream for like 4 more hours. Don't clock us out yet. Excellent. Looks like we're going to get some overtime this week. Fantastic. So, once again, be sure you take care of yourself, because there's only one you. You look around, you take care of anyone else who needs it secondarily. That is very, very hurt, dire need thereof, because they don't know how to ask for your assistance. You take care of them second. Anyone else that you like and or love more than us, unlikely, but maybe you take care of them third. But anything else you got left over, scraps, tiddly bits, change, we'll take it, because we don't want your subscription, we want your money. Downvote the shit out of this, go to Cashapp and give us $1, or go to Amazon.com and buy one of our books. Get off our lawn!